Welcome to Business Insight.
Thank you very much.
All right. We talked about the mushrooming of malls, and yes, we have seen different malls being erected in different parts of the city, Nairobi and Mombasa. And as I mentioned earlier, this has made it easy for us to do shopping. But again, it is something that has grown very fast in the last few years. But again, maybe you can give us a look at the scene of malls here in the country.
Okay. Thank you very much for having me on your show. Now, what has been happening is that there's been a lot of growth in the last 10, 15 years. And we now have over 30 malls in Nairobi, over 100 malls in the country. And now, due to that sudden supply, there's not been enough demand to fill up the malls, either because of the price range, the price.
Right, and you know, without a doubt, as I said earlier, the shopping malls are here and they have made it easy for us to shop. It's a different experience for the shoppers, you know, whereby you go to the mall and you have different things to get from there. But again, has it been okay? What can we really say? You know, the growing number of malls. Are we ready for the future of holding these malls in our country, or at the same time, probably we can talk about have they brought competition to the small retailers?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think they've brought most of the supermarkets, for example. The big retailers only have 30% of the market. 70% of the market is within the smaller supermarkets. So I don't think the smaller people are being affected as much. The issue is that because of how much people are paying and what that means as far as cost to the customer is driving people away from malls. So I think smaller malls have a bigger chance of succeeding.
And, you know, people drive for kilometers just to, you know, go to a certain mall of their liking. But as a country, as, you know, I mentioned earlier, are we ready to hold all these malls? Because there is a property consultant who once said that as much as we have the malls coming in, we are not a society that has really appreciated shopping. I don't know, we haven't really been hit by the shopping bug.
Yes, I think our culture here is a bit different because people here tend to go to malls maybe on weekends. It's not an everyday thing. So I think what needs to happen is that people need to become more creative as far as bringing more convenience so that people are able to shop on a daily basis so that at least everybody has business. So as far as I'm concerned is that maybe the malls are now too big and we just need to find a way to help our clients get their products at an affordable price. Yes.
And, you know, we've seen malls, not one or two, that have closed shop due to unusually high rents. So, and, you know, people are wondering, like, is there or are there mechanisms that can be put in place to see, you know, that this has been changed or resold or, you know, other than just other factors or other challenges that we have in the malls? I think what has come out clearly is the high rent that you know, people have to pay for the space in the malls.
Yeah, I think the issue is for developers. They're already spending too much money on the cost of land and for the cost of construction. So that people have to get a return on their money. So that being the case, then the only thing they can do is charge higher rents to be able to recoup their investment. And since that's not looking like a very viable option at the moment, then I think it would have been better when people do smaller outfits in maybe the outskirts so that the cost of development is low and that's passed on to the vendors and the vendors pass it on to the consumers. Yes.
And as you know, we talked earlier, as much as we have the different malls, sometimes you walk in a mall and the biggest percentage of people are not those shopping, but those just, you know, just moving around. Is there, you know, what's the main issue on this? Why are people not shopping? What are these challenges, you know, probably that they are meeting?
I believe it's mostly to do with the price points. because just the cost of doing business has become so high. So when people come out, it's not sustainable because people can't afford it. So I think maybe the solution would be to find a way to lower the cost of business so that can be passed on to the consumer. Yes.
Yeah, you earlier talked about neighborhood shopping. Maybe you can talk to us about that. And is it maybe another way that Kenyans can take other than the malls, just going to the malls whereby we should have a theme of probably, a certain mall has been situated there for just a certain product. Tell us more maybe about the neighborhood shopping.
Okay, currently we are doing a shopping mall in Karen, which is smaller, which consists of about maybe 20,000 square feet of space, but with all kinds of specialty stores, which has all the different convenience products, so that people have a grab-and-go concept. You don't have to be there, you don't have to worry about parking, a lot of security. You're able to go into a shopping mall for 10 minutes, pick up your milk and bread, if you need to use the pharmacy, and you're out. So what we are trying to come up with is find ways to help people get clients in and out of their shops as soon as possible. Yes.
And who are your target markets? And also in terms of pricing, how different is it from the normal malls in Kenya?
Okay, what it is that it's like a neighborhood shopping center. So the people in the local community are the ones who come and shop and experience those different services in the mall. As far as the price, then it's much lower. It's less than half of what you'd pay in a bigger mall, but still get the same exposure because it's within the same roads, in the same locations, just on a smaller scale. Yes.
And probably what factors have probably contributed to, the driven growth of malls here in Africa or in Kenya to be particular? Because you said that, yes, we have seen different malls come up.
Yes.
And probably with years to come, we'll still see more because this is a concept that has succeeded in other countries. We talked about South Africa.
Yes.
So probably you can point to us what factors have led to the growth of malls here in our country.
Clearly, it was the demand from the beginning, because for a long time we didn't have any of these amenities. We only had maybe 1 or 2 malls in the 80s. And then as the economy got better, then we started people started building more malls. But I think essentially what has happened is that real estate has been on a growth path, and there are many investors in the region who have a business interest in Kenya. So many people want to come and set up shop here and bring in their different brands from all over the world because they feel there's a market here. Yes.
And do you feel there should be a specialization? Just going back to the point, is it important for different malls to have specific themes, at least to break, for the malls to break even, because the competition is there. We have different malls, and every mall is trying to attract as many customers as possible. And, some people will argue, why do I have to drive from one mall to another just to shop for something that I can probably get in a small retail shop?
I think as Kenyans, what we have to do is come up with more specialty stores that concentrate on particular products. So, for example, if you're a restaurant, you don't have to have a big menu. You can maybe specialize in just wings and chips, so that you're good at what you do, so that when people come out to you, they know that you're the best in what you do. That way you avoid trying to duplicate the different, for example, kinds of foods that you can do. Yes.
Probably you can paint a picture for us about the future of malls in Kenya. As we said, it's not a very new concept, but with the mushrooming of malls here in our country, and without having, like the right mechanisms to go about it, do we still see the future of these malls when we now have the online shopping?
I mean, online shopping is definitely changing the market because people are able to get things at a much lower price, much faster. But I also do know that people with malls are now beginning to become more creative and turning it more into a lifestyle. When people come in, they come for their, apart from shopping, they're bringing their kids out to play.
Yeah.
You know, they have maybe parks where people can just set out and picnic. So people are becoming more creative on how to retain people and make people keep coming to the malls. Yes.
All right. That's all for Business Insight. Thank you so much for your time.
Yes.
That has been Charles Kiru.